Every year, 70% of Americans win the lottery.
To what?
$1 million.
Are you kidding me?
Yep, Jessica, you won.
You're kidding me. Is this real?
Ticket.
I just won 250,000. I'm not joking.
You're not, are you?
I just won 250,000.
49.55.
Oh my God!
20, the
oh my
Powerball.
God! Oh my God!
And then what happens later? They just pretty much go broke. And this is because they just don't know how to manage their money.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So what I want to talk to you guys about today is just pretty much winning a lottery of building the physique that you want. So I think this is a similarity between winning a lottery, making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then next thing you know, 6 months to a year and a half later, they're broke. And then the similarity, you can compare that to somebody that gets to buy it that they want, and then next thing you know, you see them years later, and not only did they get back to their original weight, but they gain weight. So I want to talk to you about 3 things that I think are very, very important when it comes to once you've actually reached your goal or along the way to reaching your goal. And the first one's going to be to take progress pics along the way. This is very important just because, listen, you have to be able to see where you started to see where you're going, to know your history, to know why you started. And the reason why I've always taken progress pics because that gives you that drive when it's really hard and when you have to be disciplined along the way of getting to your goal. I can remember when I was 12 years old, I used to stack my little pink camera up on my Vaseline and other things because I'm really short. So I was really short. I'm only 5'5" now, but I used to stack my little pink camera up on like stuff like a little tower so I could flex. And I look back to those pictures still to this day at 23 years old. So that's why it's really important to take progress pics along the way so you can see where you're at and you can see where you're going. The number 2 thing is going to be pretty much the fact that you can just discover that you might have a new passion, you know, along the way. If you get to your goal or along the way you discover you like CrossFit, you want to compete, you want to do a photo shoot, those might be things that you enjoy doing. And if you enjoy doing them, you're going to keep doing them and you're going to stay in shape. So along the way, I remember my mom used to drop me off in high school at 6 a.m. in the morning. I used to lift weights there early before school started, shower, get to class, and we had an hour and a half lunch, so it would be split between, but the students only had 30 minutes, so you'd have first period, second period, and third period. If I had a second period lunch, I would go to class, I would go to lunch, and then what I would do is I would get my chicken poppers and head down to the gym. I remember my peers used to look at me like, yo, what is wrong with this guy, man? Like, he's the only dude that comes in here and gets chicken poppers and then goes down to the gym. And I would go down to the gym until one day they told me I couldn't come because I needed to be up in the cafeteria. But I remember for a while there, I used to go, I went for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I used to work out every single day. Mind you, this is my second time working out. And after a little while, kids started looking at me, my peers, and they would be like, yo, I want to see what that guy's doing. So 2 people followed me, then 3 people followed me, and I had up to about 6 people following me down there, and we all started working out together. And I used to, you know, somewhat train them and tell them what I knew because at the time I was fascinated. Ever since I was 12 years old, I was fascinated. I was bit by the bug of pushing myself to where can my body go. And I'm gonna get to this, but later I started to figure where could I take this and monetize it? Where could I take this and share it with the world? So I started doing this, and after a little while, like I said, my peers started following me, and that's when I discovered that I was good at being a trainer, I was good at being a motivator, and I had discovered my new passion, and I had kept going with it. It confirmed it for me. And I can't tell you how many clients I've had that, you know, they might have been overweight when we started, and then as we kept going, they said, you know, Josh, I want to do a physique competition, I want to do CrossFit, I want to get ready for a photo shoot. And when they got ready for that photo shoot, or they did that CrossFit competition, or they competed in a show, they're like, yo, I really like this, man, I'm gonna keep doing it. So they kept doing it, and then they kept that money, man. They had won the lottery, and they kept that money, and they kept going with it. So the third thing is going to be is always remembering your why. And this is something I stated a little bit earlier, but taking progress pics along the way ties in with remembering your why. Why did I start? You look back at that pic, and you're just like, man, I did not like the way that person looks right there. I did not like it. I don't like it whatsoever. So always remembering your why, and I always remember my why, especially getting ready for my pro debut, is because I don't like the way I looked when I first started competing. I mean, a lot of people tell me that I had a good physique, especially for my age. I was 19 at the time, but I look back at that, and from what I see in my mind, and you know, from what I see, I'm just like, man, like, you got to do better. Each year I look at myself and I'm like, you got to do better. And this this applies at any level. Whether you were overweight and you got to where you're, in decent shape and you're trying to get to elite level shape, this applies at any level. That's why taking pictures is very important, because it allows you to go back to your why, and it'll keep you driving during those hard times, especially if you compete, especially if you're an athlete, especially if you compete, anything. I can't stress enough how important it is to pretty much remember your why. So that's pretty much it, those 3 things. Track photos along the way. You might discover your newborn passion, and also remembering your why. So please make sure to follow me at ascension.athletics on Instagram, as well as Joshua GLLM. That's Joshua GLLM. And make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be coming at you guys with more cool content soon.